It was meant to be one of those gentle, friendly morning conversations. Coffee mugs resting on the table, flowers arranged just right, smiles prepared for the cameras. But from the very first question, something felt wrong. By the end of the hour, one woman would still be seated calmly beneath the studio lights. The other would stand up, unclip her microphone, and walk away live on air. This wasn't just an interview. It was the moment everything finally cracked. The Today with Jenna and Friends studio looked exactly how America expected it to look on a weekday morning. Soft pastel colors washed across the set. Fresh flowers sat neatly arranged on the round white table, their colors carefully chosen to feel soothing, welcoming, harmless. The city skyline glowed gently through the glass behind them. New York felt alive but distant, like a postcard image rather than a real place. Jenna Bush Hager sat upright in her chair, a relaxed smile resting naturally on her face. She had mastered this posture over years on television. Open shoulders, calm hands, just enough warmth to signal comfort and trust. She looked like the kind of host viewers felt safe starting their mornings with. Across from her, Meghan Markle shifted slightly in her seat. She wore a clean white blazer, elegant and controlled, every detail clearly intentional. Her posture was straight, her legs crossed with practiced ease. When the cameras first cut to her, she smiled, but the smile arrived a split second late, as if it had been called up rather than felt. "Good morning," Jenna said brightly, turning toward her guest. "We're so happy to have you here." Meghan nodded. "Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here." To viewers at home, it sounded polite and normal. Inside the studio, it felt different. Quieter. Heavier. Jenna began exactly where everyone expected her to. She talked about Meghan's recent projects, her advocacy work, the causes she supported. Her tone was gentle and affirming, almost protective. She leaned in slightly, signaling empathy, signaling safety. Meghan responded smoothly at first. Her answers were polished and thoughtful, familiar in tone. She spoke about purpose, about growth, about finding her voice. Her sentences were complete, confident, and clearly well prepared. As she spoke, she used light hand gestures, palms open, as if offering clarity. But Jenna noticed small things. Each time the conversation drifted toward public reaction, not criticism, just reaction, Meghan's fingers tightened briefly in her lap. Whenever Jenna mentioned audience perception, Meghan's eyes flicked away for a moment before returning. Tiny movements, easy to miss but real. "So many people," Jenna said softly, smiling, "feel like they've watched your journey unfold very publicly. Do you ever feel misunderstood by the audience?" It was a careful question. A safe one. Almost kind. Meghan inhaled slowly before answering. "I think," she began, choosing her words with care, "that misunderstanding comes from narratives people accept without context." Her voice stayed calm, controlled, but the warmth cooled just a little. Jenna nodded. "That makes sense. And do you ever feel there's a gap between intention and how things are received?" For a moment, the studio became very still. Meghan smiled again, but this time it didn't reach her eyes. "I think," she said evenly, "people are often more comfortable judging than listening." It wasn't sharp. Not yet. But it wasn't gentle either. Jenna didn't react. She'd heard stronger words before. Still, she felt the shift. The air tightened, like a thread being slowly pulled. "I imagine that must be hard," Jenna replied calmly. "Especially when so many people feel invested in your story." Meghan nodded but didn't add anything. She held Jenna's gaze. The silence lingered just a bit longer than expected. The studio lights hummed quietly. The flowers stayed perfectly still. The coffee mugs remained untouched. At home, viewers leaned closer without knowing why. Jenna glanced down briefly at her notes, then back up. Her expression stayed warm, but her next question was different. Not harsher, just more direct. "You've talked before about reclaiming your narrative," she said. "What does accountability look like to you in that process?" Meghan's posture shifted almost invisibly. Her shoulders stayed straight, but she leaned back just slightly, creating distance. Accountability, she repeated slowly, is a word that's often used selectively. The smile was gone now. Jenna stayed calm. How do you mean? Meghan paused. In that pause, something settled into place. This wasn't going to stay light. This wasn't going to stay easy. I think confusion happens, Meghan said, her voice still even but firmer now, when people expect vulnerability on demand. She folded her hands together, fingers interlocked, closed and guarded. Jenna leaned forward slightly, maintaining eye contact. Do you feel that expectation has been unfair? Meghan exhaled through her nose. I feel that some people believe they're entitled to pieces of someone's life just because it's visible. There it was. The tone had shifted. Meghan was no longer explaining. She was correcting. Jenna nodded. I hear that. But at the same time, you've chosen to share very personal experiences publicly. Books, interviews, documentaries. Do you think that invites questions people feel justified asking? The question landed softly, but it landed. Meghan's eyes flicked down, then back up. Her smile returned, thinner now, carefully placed. I think there's a difference, she said, between sharing your truth and being interrogated about it. Jenna didn't interrupt. She waited. And sometimes, Meghan continued, those interrogations are disguised as curiosity. The word hung in the air. Jenna shifted in her seat, thoughtful. She recognized this moment, when a guest begins to frame the host as part of the issue. That's fair, Jenna said evenly. But my role is to ask what viewers are already asking at home. Meghan lifted her eyebrows slightly. And my role, she replied, is to decide which questions deserve answers. The temperature in the room changed. Not anger. Not yet. Resistance. Jenna smiled again, but there was firmness beneath it. Of course. But when questions go unanswered, people fill in the blanks themselves. Meghan leaned back fully now. And that, she said, says more about them than it does about me. The silence grew heavier. Jenna met her gaze. Do you worry that avoiding certain topics reinforces the idea that you're dodging accountability? For the first time, Meghan hesitated. Her fingers unclasped, then tightened again. I think, she said finally, that perception has become a weapon. A weapon? Jenna asked. Yes, Meghan replied smoothly, with an edge now. Used to corner people. To force narratives. Jenna inhaled slowly. But isn't there power in addressing those perceptions directly? Meghan smiled, cool and controlled. There's also power in refusing to perform. The word perform echoed. Jenna straightened. This isn't a performance. Meghan's eyes narrowed slightly. Isn't it? The warmth between them was gone. This is a conversation, Jenna said firmly. One you agreed to. And conversations, Meghan replied, require respect. The implication was clear. The studio felt smaller. Off camera, producers shifted uneasily. Jenna glanced briefly toward the camera, then back. What do you want people to understand that you feel they still don't? Meghan inhaled deeply. She opened her mouth, then stopped. Her eyes drifted toward the lights, toward the unseen audience. I want people to understand, she said quietly, that I don't owe them access. The words landed like a closed door. And yet, Jenna said gently, you're here. Yes, Meghan replied. I am. For how much longer hung unspoken? The tension stretched thin. Jenna spoke carefully. When your words influence conversations about institutions, media, and mental health, people feel invested. Invested, Meghan repeated softly. Or entitled. Sometimes both, Jenna said. That was the moment. Meghan leaned forward, deliberate now, her hands flat on her knees. Calm, but confrontational. This is where the issue begins, she said. When empathy becomes access. When caring turns into control. Jenna nodded. But public storytelling invites response. Response doesn't mean ownership, Meghan replied sharply. Jenna exhaled. Do you feel ownership has been taken from you? My identity, Meghan said, has been flattened into headlines. By the media? Jenna asked. By everyone, Meghan said. Including interviews like this. The line was crossed. This isn't an ambush, Jenna said firmly. I didn't say ambush, Meghan replied. I said pattern. A pattern of difficult questions? A pattern of ignoring emotional cost. The tension was now visible. Many people watching have trauma without platforms, Jenna said. And that's why I speak, Meghan shot back. Then why resist the questions? Jenna asked. Because speaking isn't the same as being dissected. Refusal can look like deflection. To whom? Meghan replied. Critics? Commentators? Hosts? The word hosts hit hard. I'm asking for clarity, Jenna said. And people aren't isolated stories, Meghan answered. Some criticism is disagreement, not misunderstanding, Jenna said. Disagreement often hides discomfort, Meghan replied. That sounds dismissive, Jenna said. And familiar, Meghan answered. The room felt frozen. Are you saying I'm part of the problem? Jenna asked. I'm saying intentions don't erase impact, Meghan replied. Jenna sat back. I'm here to understand. Understanding requires listening, Meghan said. And listening requires openness, Jenna replied. They were stuck. I won't prove my worth, Meghan said. No one asked you to, Jenna answered. That's how it feels, Meghan said. Silence. Then Meghan shifted sideways in her chair. The breaking point had arrived. She straightened her jacket, calm and resolved. Before we move on, Jenna said gently. I don't think we are, Meghan replied. She turned to the cameras. I came here expecting conversation, not a cross-examination dressed as empathy. She continued, steady and calm. I've shared enough. And it's still not enough. The goalposts keep moving. That's not my intention, Jenna said. I believe you think that, Meghan replied. She stood. Gasps rippled through the audience. This is why I'm leaving, Meghan said. Walking out doesn't explain anything, Jenna said. Staying would misrepresent me, Meghan replied. She faced the cameras. Boundaries are not avoidance. They're survival. She unclipped her microphone and placed it on the table. The sound echoed. Then respect this, Meghan said softly. She walked away. At the edge of the set, she paused. I hope one day women won't have to leave rooms to protect their dignity. Then she was gone. Jenna stood still. Well, she said quietly, returning to her seat. That wasn't planned. Sometimes real conversations don't end neatly. The audience applauded softly. One chair sat empty. One microphone lay on the table. The moment didn't fade. Was Meghan right to walk out?